So, hello today. Thank you very much for inviting me here to this really impressive conference. I will talk today about cold atmospheric plasmas from space research to Earth medicine. But start, where can we find a plasma? 99% of the known matter in the universe is a plasma. For example, our sun is a very wonderful and hot plasma. But we also have plasmas on Earth. So here you can see the northern lights, the aurora borealis, or if lightning occurs on Earth, it ionizes the surrounding air and produces a plasma. So what exactly is a plasma? You all know the different states of matter, starting from solid. If you put energy into that system, you get a liquid. If you increase the temperature further, you get a molecular and then an atomic gas. And if you put energy into that system, the atoms are separated into electrons and ions, and you produce a plasma. So a plasma is the fourth state of matter. It's a partially or even fully ionized gas, and it's usually very hot. But how does this fit together? That I actually told you in the beginning. I will talk today about cold plasmas. So this is the clue what we are doing in our company. So we're producing cold plasmas, meaning that we developed technologies to bring hot plasmas down to very low temperatures at room temperature. I will also talk about cold atmospheric plasmas today. This means that the plasmas are not only cold, so have room temperature, but can also be produced at atmospheric pressure, so have applications on Earth. Why were we interested in cold plasmas? So in the beginning, we really only wanted to do fundamental research. Plasmas are regarded as the most disordered state of matter, and you all know that crystals are regarded as the most ordered state of matter. So if you combine these two and produce plasma crystals, this therefore should not exist and should not work. But there was a theory from Professor Morphill from the Max Planck Institute who said under certain circumstances you can produce plasma crystals. And this is what we wanted to find out during our research. So what did we do? We produced a cold plasma. We introduced small microparticles into this plasma, and we wanted to find out if these small microparticles form a crystalline structure within the plasma. So form a plasma crystal, which would then give us a new state of matter. It was important that the plasma is cold, because otherwise the small microparticles would just melt. And we faced another big problem. What happens on Earth? You put the microparticles into the plasma, and they just settle down due to gravity. So we had to get rid of the gravity. So we started with parabolic flights and later on applied for experiments on the International Space Station. And I'm happy to tell you that we were successful. We now have experiments up there since 18 years. Here you can see the cosmonaut Sergei Krikalev. He's holding our first plasma crystal chamber. And you can see he's holding it with one finger, although this weighs approximately 50 kilograms. So the problem with gravity was solved, and I will show you on the next slide a small movie that we were able to produce plasma crystals, so a new state of matter on the ISS. And this is what you can see here. So the different colors represent the microparticles in the plasma, and you can see they form a crystalline structure within the most disordered state of matter. But where are the applications? Why were we interested in doing this? As I said, really fundamental basic physics. We wanted to understand the dynamics of matter. Up to now, plasma crystals do not have any application on Earth, but, and this is the nice thing, the side product of cold plasma, which we just developed to not melt the microparticles, this has lots of applications on Earth. And this brings me to the next slide, which is presumably the most important slide of my talk. So why are cold plasmas of interest on Earth? We found out that cold plasmas can be designed in such a way that they destroy and inactivate bacteria. This means all different kinds of bacteria, independent of the resistance level against antibiotics or antiseptics. These means multi-drug resistant bacteria such as MRSA, Clostridium difficile, vancomycin resistant enterococcus, the big threats of mankind currently, which we will face even more in the future. Cold atmospheric plasma also inactivate viruses, fungi, spores, mites, and even molecules, meaning odor molecules, but also volatile organic compounds. This means also small molecules such as ammoniac, carbon monoxide, or even nitrogen dioxide. Cold plasmas can do this on surfaces if they are designed properly, so molecules or microorganisms which are attached to surfaces. This means human skin, human mucosa, but also hard or soft surfaces. It can do this in fluids, and it can also do this in air without leaving any negative residues. On my next slide here, I show you different kinds of cold plasma technologies. You can see that they all have in common that they have a purple light. Yeah? So this is the light which is emitted from the plasma, but otherwise they all look very different. And this is exactly the core competence of Terraplasma, to develop different cold plasma technologies for different application areas. So here we have plasma devices which can remove molecules from air, but we also have plasma devices on this page which inactivate bacteria in wounds, for example. So completely different applications. How do we do this? So in principle, we can design the plasma. What you can see on this page here is, or are the ingredients of a cold plasma. We have ions and electrons, of course. These ions and electrons interact with the surrounding air and produce more than 600 chemical reactions. So we have reactive species, we have UV light, we have visible light, we have electromagnetic fields, and we have a little bit of heat. And all these ingredients can be changed and can be designed to different applications. Currently, Terraplasma is working in the areas of medical technology. Here we're focusing on the treatment of chronic infected wounds and also on sterilization of medical equipment. We're also active in the area of hygiene, so removing mites or allergens from surfaces, allergens in the air. We're active in the area of water treatment, so here mainly drinking water production, in the area of odor management, so reducing odors in air, but also odors in textiles. And finally, we also started a new subsidiary company on the field emission control, so developing a device for reduction of carbon monoxide and nitrogen dioxide from the exhaust of cars. As I said in the beginning, today in my talk I will not focus on all these different application areas. I will go into detail into the medical technology area, so here the chronic wound treatment. Coming to the problem, 5.7 million people in the USA suffer from chronic infected wounds, leading to annual costs of $20 billion US. More shockingly, I think, is the next number. Globally, we have one amputation every 30 seconds due to a non-healing diabetic ulcer. It is well known that pathogenic microorganisms, such as bacteria in wounds, lead to inflammatory response, a delay in the synthesis of collagen, and retarded epithelialization, so impaired wound healing. And we believe at Terraplasma that we can do something against this and that we can help human mankind with this problem. So what did we do? Together with the Max Planck Institute and the company ATEC, we developed a cold atmospheric plasma device for the treatment of chronic wounds and different skin diseases. Its first name was the Microplaster, now it's called Steriplast. And you can see the device up here on the left side. So it's quite big. In the middle, in the body of the device, is the plasma technology. Up on the top, you see a movable arm, and attached to the movable arm is the so-called plasma torch, which includes 6 electrodes for plasma production. Treatment, in principle, looks like this, that the movable arm is placed above the chronic infected wounds. You can see the purple glow of the plasma, so the plasma is transported to the chronic wound just by a gas flow. Terraplasma has licensed this plasma technology to the company ATEC, who's now manufacturing and selling this device. And with this device, we also did the largest clinical study worldwide using cold plasma on chronic wounds. And I want to just show you some results of this clinical study. In total, we treated 379 patients within 8 years. Within these 8 years, we did not observe any negative side effects, no allergic reactions, and as the plasma just is transported to the patient via a gas flow, the treatment was painless and well tolerated by the patients. But the most important thing, we had a highly significant bacterial reduction in the plasma-treated wounds in comparison with the untreated wounds. And this bacterial reduction was independent of the resistance level, so we just killed all the bacteria in there, independent of their resistance, so including multi-resistant bacteria such as MRSA. We furthermore were able to show improved wound healing. So we believe that with this device, a lot of people can be helped, especially when antibiotics or anything like this doesn't help anymore. To also get a few more devices into the market and to address also medical practices, nursing homes, and also mobile nurses, we tried to develop a miniaturized plasma device based on a different plasma technology, as the other device, which I showed in the beginning, is still quite big. We did that in the past 2 years and developed the so-called Plasma Care within our subsidiary Terraplasma Medical. You can see the device here, and I also brought it with me if you're interested to look at it and to feel cold plasma later on. It's battery operated, it's mobile, it's handy. You can use it with one hand. It doesn't have any wires, no cables, no hoses. And the treatment, again, is fast, similar to the Terraplasma, only between 1 and 3 minutes. In contrast to the Terraplasma, here we slightly touch the wound. That's why we need sterile single-use spacers to do not get any cross-contamination from patient to patient. We're currently undergoing CE certification with this device. So this device was tested preclinically, and here I want to show some of the really impressive results which we achieved. So we did efficacy tests and we did safety tests with this device, and the efficacy test showed that we were able to get a 99.999% reduction of all different kinds of bacteria within 1 minute. This again included, of course, multi-resistant bacteria. The same reduction was achieved for different kinds of fungi within 1 minute treatment time. And we were also able to get a 99.9% reduction, so 3 log, of a bacterial biofilm within 1 minute. So these are really normally very difficult to inactivate. Concerning safety, it was shown that the device is safe. There was no induction of mutagenicity due to the plasma. The plasma doesn't have any genotoxic potential. No induction of apoptosis, cell death was observed. So we were able to find a therapeutic window where we can very efficiently inactivate bacteria, fungi, bacterial biofilm without harming our own human cells. As soon as we get CE certification, so waiting for this until the end of the month, we will start the post-market surveillance study in April. So this brings me to the end of my talk and to the end of the medical application. Nevertheless, I want to draw your attention back to all the different possible application areas of cold plasma. And this is actually also our vision, to bring the knowledge of cold atmospheric plasmas to medical technology, to hygiene, to water treatment, odor management, and emission control. Where microorganisms or odor molecules make problems, I believe that we can help. Thank you for your attention.